trends that we're seeing right now as we kick off 2024. One of them is companies questioning, like, we're feeling like we don't have the momentum. There's a bit of restlessness, and they're wondering what the root is. Is it a bad business strategy, or is there something in our culture that's impeding us? And the answer is a bit of both, likely. What we're seeing, the first trend, is that strategies aren't really deep enough. They're not what we call outside-in thinking. It's very much of what do we need to fix internally instead of considering the external market. So most of the work we're doing right now is helping companies with that outside-in thinking. So your strategy may not be considering all the factors, and that could be getting in your way. The second trend we're seeing is where the restlessness and the culture issues right now are starting to take a toll. People don't have the level of energy that they need, and so there can be cultural issues, but typically that's because of poor communication, right? Not intentional communication. We're not doing the things as leaders that we need to do. There's 3 key things right now that I would recommend that leaders really think about. The first thing is to think about the big strategic initiatives they're working on, not from a strategic standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint. If we signed up to do something big in our team, in our division, in our company this year, did we consider the cultural impacts of that, the change impacts of it? And really thinking through your strategy with the lens of culture to say, how is it going to impact and what proactive things do we need to do as leaders? So really thinking about that cultural element of your strategy. The second thing is assessing where people are at on the change curve. We are having this conversation with every leader, every client right now, is do they know where people are at? Because humans naturally go through the stages of change when you're trying to do something big in your company. And so if you're not aware of where people are at, it's really hard to know how far you need to move them and to be really intentional about it. The third thing is ramp up your communication. In this time of people feeling like they don't know what's going on, they're not in the loop, it's hard to keep performance up. And so are there different communication channels or activities that you can do that are very intentional to get people on board with the change that you're trying to drive? So it's those things. Not all of those are simple, but as a leader, you need to be thinking about those things because otherwise it's very difficult for your strategy to be successful. We get asked a lot around, what if the problem is us? And my honest answer is it typically is you. At the C-suite, at the executive level. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just mean all of the great things that are happening in a company are typically because of something executive level has done, decisions they've made, strategies that they've put in place. And everything that's not working is typically their fault as well. And I say that to executives in the room. I say it to myself. If something's not working here, there's something I'm not doing. There's some lack of clarity on the vision. There's lack of intentional communication and keeping people in the loop or trust between departments that we're allowing to happen. And when we tolerate, that's what we get. And so I think it's a time for a gut check for a lot of executive teams. It doesn't mean you're not a great leader. It doesn't mean you're not driving the right strategy for the business or you're not smart. It just might mean we need to do something different than what we've done in the past. And the companies and the executives that are embracing that are the ones that are helping their teams get through this restlessness right now. We've got examples of clients that are doing a lot more intentional connection down and within the organization, so they don't feel quite so removed because they're seeing kind of information flow fall off at some point. Skip level meetings, for example. One of our clients has just put in place to not meet with their direct reports, but meet with the direct reports of their direct reports to really understand, do they understand the vision? Do they understand where we're going? Do they have questions? Do they have concerns? And it's just opening up a whole level of intentional communication, which is a key aspect of our culture model that we talk about. It can have profound effects on both the humans in your organization, but also on your strategy because people are feeling more connected to the work that you're doing and what you're trying to drive. One other thing to consider that I think is a long-term kind of view and play, but can really help in the short term is baselining your culture. When we talk to a lot of leaders and organizations, they have a feeling about what their culture is, but they don't know for sure. And when you're ready to embark on a major transformation, or you're going to navigate the times that we're in right now, to baseline your culture is the best thing you can do because 6 months or a year or 18 months from now, it's going to tell us, is the culture moving in a positive direction or a negative? And without baselining it, it's just a feeling. And so thinking about that proactively before you undergo transformation, I think is probably the best investment you can make in your strategy right now.